Okay, it's time to make some festive garland. You're gonna need some felt and some pretty good scissors. If you don't have good scissors, I'll show you what you can do, but if you have good fabric scissors, get them out. If you're not sure, then you don't have good fabric scissors. Anyway, let me show you how to do it. You'll need about 2.5 or so sheets of felt that are 9 by 12, some kind of jute or hemp or ribbon or whatever you need. And this is the way we're going to cut the first piece of felt. So this is going to cut through multiple layers. This is where you're going to need your good fabric scissors. Fold it into thirds so that they're folded to where they're 9 by 4. And then you're going to cut through 3 layers at one time to cut out leaves. So every time you cut one leaf, you get 3 leaves. And you get this weird little bit of scrap left over. Because the leaves are about 1 inch wide and it's 9 inches, you're going to get about 9 out of it. But here's the thing that we're going to do to try to get as many leaves as possible. Those funny little shapes that came out of the middle, because we cut it as one piece, we're going to cut those to make our small leaves. The leaves can be somewhat irregular. They don't have to be all the same if they get stuck together. So you can just snip them apart. They don't all have to be perfect. They don't even really have to be all that close to perfect. But then use these funny little scrap pieces, everything that's big enough so that you can have a few extra little leaves, especially with your primary color, because I used about 50 of the primary color to make this garland. If that's not something you're comfortable with or you don't have good scissors, here's another way to get it. Now you're not going to get quite as many leaves, but you'll still get enough to work with, especially if it's your secondary color. Fold it into thirds and then cut it into pieces, and cut each of those pieces into 1 inch strips so that you have 1 inch by 4 inch. Now cut the leaf. The leaf goes diagonally across this rectangle. You see that? All right, let's do that again. So we're starting about halfway up and curving around toward the opposite corner. Spin it around, same thing, about halfway up and curve around to that corner. Let me show you again here on a little piece of paper where you can see the positive and the negative, the part we keep and the part we get rid of. So see how the leaf goes diagonally across and it doesn't just go from end to end? Never, never use your good fabric scissors on paper. Get you another pair. Scissors are cheap. Get a good pick. Cheap ones, use the cheap ones. Anyway, so let me show you that again with the felt. The leaf is kind of diagonal shape inside of that rectangle. So cut out those. The 2 secondary colors, I used about 25 or so leaves for each of the gray and the blue for this particular one that I made, my winter garland. Now we're going to make the holes. These 2 little black lines, I want you to cut little cuts there, fold it in half and make a little snip and another little snip. See those 2 little holes? That's where we're going to thread the jute through. If you mess up, just make another little cut. Try to put them off to the side like that so that your leaf goes on at an angle instead of all straight in a line. If you cut your 2 cuts straight down the middle of your leaves are gonna be all in a straight line. If that's what you want, that's fine. That's not what I was going for. So I cut all of them. They made the 2 little cuts so that it can go in and out, and that will give you some control on having them spread out the way you want. There's about 10 beads. If you have a plastic canvas needle with a big hole, great. If not, get you some bobby pins. The bobby pin has that one little leg that's kicked up. Bend it down. You're going to need some pliers. Bend it down so that it's closed, so that the 2 ends of it touch. And you can use that for a needle. You can also use that if the elastic or the cording comes out of something, you can do the same thing and run it back through if it's come out. You use the looped over end, the folded end, whatever it is, like the eye of your needle, and run. This is hemp, I think. Run your hemp through it. Now you can just go around and pick up randomly with the different colors if that works for you, but if you're not comfortable with that, go ahead and lay them out so that you create that random. I don't think you want this to be an exact pattern. You want it to be random as you go across. And because there's about 100 leaves, about 50 white ones, about 25 blue ones, about 25 gray ones for this project, I'm going to go between 8 and 12 before I put on a bead. So here we go, in and out, and then I'm going to slide this one to about the middle of this 3 yards, which is 9 feet, which I have no idea how many meters that is, but let's look. So in and out, and then pull it down. So I'm going to do my 8 to 12, add a bead, and then I'm going to work all of these leaves back down there to the middle. If when you're putting it on there, it tears it and the leaf won't stay, I don't know, you could just throw it away, or you can make another little snip so that you have a second hole for it to come out of. So once I have my 8 to 12 on there, I'm going to work them down to the middle of it. I'm going to work half of it from one side and half of it from the other, instead of having to slide all of the leaves so far. I'm cutting that work in half. And you could keep them all really tight, but I spread them out until they're just sort of laying in there. They all kind of have their own space. They're not too crowded up. And then you just keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. 8 to 12, add a bead. 8 to 12, add a bead. Now, if you have pom-poms that you want to add, or if you're using more than 10 for your 100, I don't know. Now we're going to have to do math. You know how I feel about math. But do the math and then divide it up so that you have a range to work in. They don't have to all be exactly the same distance apart, because the leaves flip around. They're not all going to show evenly. So that keeps them from being quite so much organized. I don't know, leaves just don't seem like the kind of thing that should be organized. So then once you've done that about half and you've gotten to the end of your twine, string, ribbon, whatever it is you're using, switch around and put your bobby pin or your needle on the other end and keep going. And there you go. Okay, did yours come out great? Mine came out great. What kind did you make? What season are you going to use yours? Do you use pastel colors to make a nice Easter one? Or did you use red and green and do Christmas? Or did you do a beautiful fall one like I did? Or maybe even like the other one that I made that's the video that is a winter one, because you can use it longer. You can use it at Christmas and you can keep on using it. Anyway, I hope you had fun. I had fun. Why wouldn't I have fun? I always have fun. Fun is what we're here for. Remember this verse that says, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Therefore, pray to the Lord of the harvest that he will send out workers into his harvest." All right. That was fun. I'll see you next time.